go.
6 years. 6 long years. That's how long it has been since Sam Hinkie was first hired as general manager and president of basketball operations for the Sixers. 6 years ago, the process began. I'm going to discuss the 5 years leading up to Hinkie's hiring, his tenure with the Sixers, and how the Sixers are doing post-Hinkie. First, I'll talk about the 5 years prior to Sam Hinkie's hiring. From the 2009 season to the 2013 season, the Sixers can best be described as a team that was stuck in NBA purgatory. NBA purgatory describes a team that consistently falls between being a 5th seed and a 12th seed. This is a tricky place to be stuck because a 9th to 12th seed misses the playoffs while also receiving a low probability of a top 5 draft pick, while making the playoffs as a 5th seed or lower eliminates any possibility of home court advantage throughout the playoffs. It should also be noted that only one NBA team has ever won the NBA Finals as a 5th seed or lower. In the 5 years prior to Sam Hinkie's arrival, the Sixers finished 6th, 13th, 7th, 8th, and 9th in the Eastern Conference, making the playoffs 3 times, being eliminated in the first round twice and once in the second round. The Sixers were without a bona fide superstar, as they had 3 different players with 1 All-Star appearance each in different years. Allen Iverson in 2010, who retired after the season, Andre Iguodala in 2012, and Jrue Holiday in 2013. Sixers management pre-Hinkie only made 1 trade worth mentioning. That is the infamous Andrew Bynum trade. The Sixers traded their lone All-Star at the time, Andre Iguodala and Nikola Vucevic, for 2-time champion and NBA All-Star Andrew Bynum. Andrew Bynum ended up not playing a single game for the Sixers and was out of the league 2 years later. Andre Iguodala went on to win 3 NBA championships and a Finals MVP. Nikola Vucevic went on to be a consistent starter for the Orlando Magic and made his first All-Star team this year. After the Andrew Bynum dilemma, the Sixers front office finally decided to go in a new direction, and in the summer of 2013, they hired Sam Hinkie as their new general manager and president of basketball operations. Hinkie didn't waste any time in his new position, and just a month into his new job, he traded the team's lone All-Star Jrue Holiday and a second-round pick to the Pelicans for the rights to 6th overall pick Nerlens Noel, who was coming off a gruesome ACL injury. This move foreshadowed Hinkie's purpose. That purpose was to acquire and stockpile as many assets as possible. In Hinkie's 3-year tenure, the Sixers acquired 6 additional first-round picks and 17 additional second-round draft picks. The Sixers' record in Hinkie's 3-year stretch was 47 and 199, which translates to a win percentage of 19%. As a result of the Sixers' poor play, they received the 3rd overall pick in 2014, in which they selected Joel Embiid. Hinkie also traded for the 12th overall pick, Dario Saric. They again received the 3rd overall pick in 2015, in which they selected Jahlil Okafor, and the 1st overall pick in 2016, in which they selected Ben Simmons. Joel Embiid ended up missing his first 2 seasons due to injury, along with Dario Saric, who didn't play for 2 years due to an outstanding contract he had in the EuroLeague. Likewise, Ben Simmons also sat his first season with a foot injury. Unfortunately for Sam Hinkie, he wouldn't get to be a part of the Sixers organization by the time Ben Simmons, Dario Saric, or Joel Embiid began to play. The league had been monitoring the Sixers losing, and after the 2016 season, in which they went 10-72, the league stepped in and pressured the Sixers and Hinkie to part ways. Sam Hinkie resigned from his GM and PBO position, and the Sixers went on to fill his shoes with Brian Colangelo. With Hinkie gone, the fruits of the process began to ripen. To begin the 2017 season, Joel Embiid was finally ready to play, and Dario Saric finally came over from Europe. Coming off a 10-win season, the Sixers improved to 28-54. Joel Embiid was runner-up for Rookie of the Year, and Dario Saric came in 3rd place for Rookie of the Year. The next season, Ben Simmons was finally healthy, and the Sixers improved to 52-30. This was the Sixers' first 50-win season since 2001. Joel Embiid was voted as an All-Star starter, and Ben Simmons ended up winning Rookie of the Year. The Sixers ended up making it to the second round, in which they lost to the Boston Celtics. At the end of the season, Brian Colangelo was accused of using burner Twitter accounts to criticize players on the Sixers, specifically players that were drafted or acquired by Sam Hinkie. The NBA conducted an independent investigation that resulted in Brian Colangelo resigning. The Sixers ended up appointing former player Elton Brand as their new GM. Elton Brand wasted no time making moves. Just a couple weeks into the 2019 season, he traded Dario Saric and all-defensive team selection Robert Covington for perennial all-star Jimmy Butler. 3 months later, he traded Tobias Harris, who was averaging career highs across the board and earned a Western Conference Player of the Month award. With the Sixers acquiring Jimmy Butler and Tobias Harris, along with being depleted of all trade assets, the Sixers are now going all in on a championship. Looking back, the Sixers had to go through many rough years in order to end up where they are now. And through all the hate and slander they received for being terrible for such an extended period of time, Sam Hinkie saw the light at the end of the tunnel. And even though Sam Hinkie won't be on the Sixers payroll when they win a championship, he will always be remembered as the man who died for our wins.
Yeah.